The group looked outside the safe room to see that they were at a terminal to the airport. We're at the terminal of the airport. It looks like we're getting close to the airport, Bill said as the group moved on. They spotted a boomer to which he was behind them. Sister shot the boomer. Got him, Sister said. Nice shot, Zoe replied. As they were going through the offices of the terminal, Zoe was still cramping, so she was moving a bit slow. Do they know? Sister asked. It's something you shouldn't really tell anybody, but they figured out what's going on. Well, Francis had a girlfriend before the infection, Lewis worked with a few girls before this happened, and Bill had a wife at some point. So while he was working in the army, so they all know what's going on with me, Zoe replied. Well, will I be going through the same thing you are? Sister asked. Like someday, I mean. I guess it's kind of different for bears though, because, well, I'm not a bear, obviously. Zoe replied, giggling, laying nervously. As the van was being moved, a horde of zombies was closing in as a smoker grabbed Zoe, and Sister was shooting at the smoker's tongue, which broke and Zoe was stuck in the tongue. Thank you, Sister, Zoe said, as Sister helped Zoe get free from the smoker's tongue. The path to the van is clear, Francis called, as the group walked through the luggage belt, and as they were getting close to the planes where they take off. I see a safe house. We're getting close, he said. As the group walked up the stairs fighting the hordes of zombies, each of them were gunned down one by one. As soon as the group made it to the safe room, Francis and Lewis, along with Zoe and Bill, shot down the remaining zombies that ran behind them before closing the safe room door. Well, that was amazing. I thought that was too easy, Brother said as Zoe sat down. I think my arm hurts, Zoe said as she unzipped her sweater. Why? Sister asked. As Zoe took off her sweater, You still cramping? No, it's not that, Sister. It's more my arm that hurts a bit, Zoe replied. When the smoker pulled me, I fell on my arm and I think I bruised it. Sister rolled up Zoe's sleeve to show her bruised arm. Does it hurt when I press on it? Sister asked as she pressed lightly on her bruised arm spot. Ah! Zoe replied as she nodded and groaned in pain. Then Sister pulled down Zoe's sleeve of her shirt as she put her sweater back on. I'll be fine. I'm sorry for pressing too hard on your bruised spot, Sister said. It's okay, Sister. I know you didn't mean to, Zoe said as she gave Sister a hug. There's Freddy, Brother pointed out from the inside of the safe room. He's at the truck and he's tied up. Well, that's a good sign that he's okay. Now let's go save him, Bill said. As the group walked out of the safe room, they looked to see a plane that crashed. Holy shit! I didn't sign up for this shit! Fred, Brother said as he ran towards Fred when a hunter pounced on Brother. Help me! Get it off me! Brother cried out for help as Lewis shoved the hunter off of Brother and Francis killed the hunter. You okay? Francis asked Brother. Yeah, thank you so much, Francis and Lewis, Brother replied as Bill, along with Zoe and Mama and Papa, ran towards the group. Fred, we're glad you're okay, Sister said as she, along with Bill, untied Fred so he could be free. How did you guys know where I am and how I got here? Fred asked as Bill pulled out a pair of glasses. Found these somewhere, kiddo. I think these are yours, Bill said as he handed Fred his glasses. How do we get out of here? Sister asked as Zoe saw the plane that was being parked when it flew over the greenhouse earlier. It was the same one, in fact, that flew over. We could use that plane to fly us out of here. Great plan. I like the sound of that, Papa said as there was a voice coming from the walkie-talkie. Bill answered it, and there was a voice that replied back. You'll have to gas up this plane and we can fly out of here. This truck, what it will do is we'll fill up this plane with gas that is going to attract the infected. So make sure you're all ready to fight them off. When you start pumping the gas into the plane, the pilot then said the plane, and as everyone started to prepare themselves. All loaded up and ready for the fight off the infected, Papa said, as he noticed that Brother was a bit slow in getting ready. Need help, he asked. No, I'm okay. I'll just need a bit of ammo to do it, Brother said, as he took some ammo, and then he spilled the glass of water on Sister as her clothes were wet. "Brother, look what you did," she said angrily. "Sorry," Brother replied. "You're such an asshole," Sister said to Brother, as Zoe was shocked but also angry along with the adults of the group. "What?" "Don't you say those words," Zoe said. "That is not nice, and those words could really hurt someone." "Well, you guys swear," Sister protested. "Well, that doesn't matter. Those words that cubs and children should never use just because they hear adults say them," Francis replied. "But I didn't mean to call him that. He knocked over a glass of water on me while I was getting ammo," Sister replied angrily. "That doesn't mean, Sister, you can really hurt someone if you say those language like that to anyone else. Just because you hear that me, Bill, Francis, or even Zoe say them, that doesn't mean it's okay for you to say them," Louis defended Francis. "But Zoe says them, and that when she hurts herself, she was swearing," Sister said. "I don't give a rat's ass if you're swearing or not, if they're swearing or not. You're the one who's 8 years old swearing," Bill said, as Zoe got in front of Bill. "Bill, you need to calm down. We can't deal with this right now. We need to get on the plane, gassed up, so we can find Lizzie and stop that Witter Jones," Zoe said. After the group were all ready for the fight off the hordes of infected, Bill turned on the gas of the truck so it could start to pump the gas into the plane. The noise was so loud that it attracted the hordes of infected. They were able to gun down all of them without anyone getting hurt, until Bill was pounced by the hunter, and no one noticed but Sister did. "Help! Bill's in trouble!" Sister called as Zoe ran towards Bill to save him. She shoved the hunter off of Bill before killing him, and then aided Bill to save him. "It's all right, Bill. You're gonna be okay," Zoe said, helping Bill up after shoving the hunter away and killing him. "Easy, easy," she said, as Bill was back up. "I'm hurt pretty bad," Bill said, as a tank was approaching that Zoe had to heal Bill quickly, while Francis, Louis, Mama, Papa, Fred, and Brother were able to keep the tank away from them. "Hold on, this will only take a sec," Zoe said, as she quickly healed Bill until he was feeling better from Zoe healing him. "Thanks," he said. "No problem," Zoe replied, as the other 2 survivors, along with Sister, gunned down the tank. Then the smoker was going to grab Zoe when Bill grabbed his tongue and pulled the smoker, tied him until the smoker was into a ball. "Here, Sister, kick him as hard as you can like a soccer ball. You said you were good at it, right?" Bill said to Sister as he handed the smoker ball to her. "Thanks, Bill. And you, Smoker, say hi to Witter Jones and your friends from us," Sister said, as she kicked the smoker ball very far as she threw him into the air and he disappeared. "Don't you ever bother us again!" Sister waved goodbye as the plane was all gassed up. Another horde of infected was coming, so the survivors were able to shoot them down while they ran towards the plane until everyone was inside. When the plane took off, they left the infected behind. "That was close," Fred said. "You did well, Fred. We were all laughing when you were covering the tank's eyes while he was running around like if he was drunk," Francis said as he and Louis started laughing. "We sure are out of here," Sister replied as the plane took off from the airport. Everyone had escaped and they were safe. Well, at least for now they were. The group were on the plane and they were on their way to the farmhouse. "Where is this farmhouse?" Brother asked. "Well, here's the thing. We'll get there when the plane is near the area. We'll jump down. Our parachutes will help us land there to safety," Bill said as Papa pulled out the map. "So we have saved Freddy, so now we're heading for the farmhouse," Sister replied. Meanwhile, at the farmhouse of Blood Harvest, Witter Jones was looking at her crystal ball. "Plan to save Lizzie, aren't we? Well, you are all in for a treat. We'll have a surprise attack waiting for you at this farmhouse," Witter Jones cackled. "You're right, Bill. Once we reach the farmhouse and we save Lizzie, and we'll get all these bears back home to the world above them. Once we deal with Witter Jones, that wicked bitch, first, this plan will be easy," Zoe said, as Witter Jones could hear her from her crystal ball. "Well, you guys want to go on a magic carpet-like ride?" Witter Jones cackled as she used her magic to control the plane. "What's going on?" Papa asked, as the plane started to be in control of something. "This plane is somehow being moved by force. I can't stop it, the pilot said as the plane started to fly around. Well, it's that Witter Jones bitch again, and she's making the plane move on itself, Lewis said as the plane swooped down to some forest and the group screamed as they disappeared from the plane and into the woods. Where are we? Francis asked. It looks like we're in the forest. It's dark and creepy looking, Fred said as they heard Sister struggling to get out of a burr bush. Help! I'm stuck! She called as Zoe and Lewis pulled Sister out of the bush. Sister had some burrs at the top of her fur that needed to be cut off. Oh my, Sister, you've got burrs in your hair, in your fur, Mama Bear said as Sister didn't notice, but she said nothing. See, Zoe said as she handed a mirror to Sister to look at herself in the mirror. She did freak out when she had burrs in her hair. It's not that bad, Sister. I was like that when I was around 6 or 7. My mom and dad had to cut my hair when it was like that bad, Zoe replied as she found a pair of scissors and decided to use her sweater to place it around Sister. What are you going to do, Zoe? Sister asked. I'll be cutting the burrs off of your fur, she replied as she was careful while removing her pink bow. Why did you take my bow off? Sister asked Zoe. So I could cut the burrs off without anything in your way, Zoe replied as she started to cut off the burrs off. I'm going to look like a boy, Sister sighed sadly. No, you're not. It doesn't matter what you look like after the haircut, but you always will be Sister Bear, Zoe said as she cut the last of her burrs off without pulling her hair. That's the last of them, Zoe said as she handed Sister a mirror so she could see herself in the mirror without burrs. What about my ribbon? Sister asked. You'll have to wait until your fur has grown back some before we could put your ribbon back in, Zoe replied. But I look silly without my ribbon, Zoe said. No, you don't. You're beautiful the way you are, Zoe replied as she found a hat on the picnic table and handed it to Sister. The hat was a pink one with purple on it. Here, there's a hat. I know somebody else must have left it before the outbreak, but now it's yours, Zoe said as Sister took it in her hands. What if someone comes back? Would it be stealing the hat? Sister replied. It's no one else's hat anymore now, Sister. It's now yours, Zoe smiled. This is the woods. So Lizzie must be in the farmhouse. So we need to get to the farmhouse and we can reach out Witter Jones and teach her a lesson, Lewis said. The last thing I heard before Witter Jones made us appear here is there's some sort of military outpost not far from here, Bill said, up along the train tracks. We just gotta find the train tracks and follow them. Yeah, let's do it, Zoe replied and agreed as the group prepared themselves for the trip to the farmhouse where they will save Lizzie, take care of Witter Jones, and even get the bears home. The group started to walk through the woods. It's scary in here, Mama said. As long as we stay together, we'll be fine, Lewis replied as Papa looked behind the tree to see if anyone was following them. But there wasn't anyone there. A bridge! We can cross this, Zoe said as she, along with the rest of the group, walked along this bridge. Whatever you do, Fred, don't look down, Brother said as the group made it to the other side as they saw a train yard. This train yard is creepy looking, Freddie said as he looked down to see nothing. That's because no one has worked here since the infection started, Lewis replied as Zoe looked to see Sister. What's wrong? Zoe asked. I'm getting tired of walking, Zoe. We've been walking for a long time, Sister said as a horde of infected were coming in the woods to start to try to attack the group. Luckily, the group was able to gun down the horde of zombies. They saw a safe room in the train yard station, so the group ran inside. We made it, Fred said as Zoe saw a clue. What's that? Sister asked as she pointed the bag full of Halloween candy. It's a candy bag. It's a clue. This must tell us that we're heading in the right way to save Lizzie at the farmhouse, Zoe said. Since Sister wants to rest for a bit, why don't we all have a break? But we'll head out once everyone's ready to go, Lewis said. After an hour of relaxing, the group was ready to head out again. They soon saw themselves in the train station. Let's see what's down here, Francis said, as the group walked through the train station. It's quiet, too quiet, Sister said, as she and Brother looked around when Brother saw he was in the vent. Hey, Sister, get Zoe in here. I think I found a shortcut, Brother replied as as he called out. Zoe walked towards Sister. "What are you two cubs up to?" Zoe asked. "I think I found a shortcut," Brother replied. "Bill, me and Sister and Brother will go through this shortcut. That may take us to the next safe house," Zoe said. "All right, Zoe, we'll go through this door that sets the alarm off," Bill replied. As Zoe went through the vent with Brother and Sister Bear, the vent was almost squeezing Zoe tight enough that she could get stuck, but she could barely fit in the vent. "Here is the exit," Brother said, as Zoe shot out of the vent and Brother pushed the vent open, and they all crawled out. "That was a cool shortcut," Brother said. Zoe was looking over and she was getting close to being stuck. "Ugh, I'm a little stuck here," Zoe said. That's when Sister and Brother pulled Zoe out, and they got out of there. "Well, I just hope we find food soon," Brother said. "We haven't had anything to eat in a while." "This safe house seems safe," Sister said, as they reached the safe house. "I'm hoping the group gets here okay," Brother said. "Your monster costume's cool, Brother. I forgot to mention that when we saved you," Zoe replied. "Thanks, Zoe, it was no problem," Brother said. Suddenly the rest of the group who were talking walked inside the safe room. "I see you guys got here okay," said Mama. "Yeah, we did. We must be close to the farmhouse," said Sister, as the group decided to rest for a while to prepare themselves before going back out again. And the group stayed in the safe room for at least 45 minutes before they were able to move on. Once they prepared themselves, they headed for the farmhouse. "The coast is clear," said Zoe. As the group left the safe house, they started walking until they shot a few wandering zombies that hadn't noticed them. Then there was crying. "That sounds like a witch." Zoe warned everyone in the group that there was a witch nearby. "Turn off your lights," she whispered. As everyone saw the witch, they began to walk slowly past her when she started to growl, then groan, and then started to groan loudly. "Don't piss off the witch," she said, as she was nervous that someone might startle her, but luckily no one startled her and they backed away. "That was too close. That witch is a very mean-looking monster," Papa Bear said, as then they saw a building up ahead. "This is something I don't see every day. A building that is abandoned looking," Mama Bear said, as the group walked up to the old building. Francis opened the door. It was very quiet. "Look at that! No one here," Francis chuckled. "This looks old and creepy looking," Fred said, as Francis led the group inside the building. "There are the train tracks through this door," Lewis said as he opened the door. He and Zoe shot down a few wandering zombies in the area. Then the group saw a bridge, and there was a way to get up there. "There's a bridge! If we could find a way up there," Bill said. "There's a train cart with brakes on it, so if you pull the brakes off the cart, it will knock down the bridge and we'll have a way up," Brother said. "Good idea, Brother, but the only thing that will happen is that the noise of that bridge coming down and the train cart making it crash will attract the horde of zombies, so we'll need to make sure everyone's ready," Lewis replied, as the group prepared themselves. As Brother pulled the brakes on the train cart, it started to move. A loud shriek was heard that caused the horde of zombies to run towards the survivors. "Here they come," Zoe warned the group as everyone stayed together. They were all shooting the zombies down when all of a sudden a tank showed up after all the zombies were shot down. "Tank!" Zoe shouted as the group started to run and shoot the tank at the same time. "Hey, tank, over here!" Brother called as he stood on the bridge that was knocked down by the tank. As the tank ran towards Brother, the rest of the group fired at the tank until he was dead, to which he didn't make it to Brother at the bridge, thankfully. "You okay?" Zoe asked Brother as she reloaded her weapon along with the rest of the group. "Well, I distracted him so you can shoot him easily," Brother smiled. "That's a smart plan, Brother. Why didn't I think of that?" Papa asked. When the group got close to the bridge to the train cart and was knocked down, after the group got out the safe house, they decided to rest for a while. After 6.5 hours went, Sister woke up with her nap along with Brother and Fred to find out that Papa was gone. She walked towards Zoe, who was napping with the rest of the group. "Zoe," Sister whispered, but Zoe was in a deep sleep. "Zoe!" Sister said a little louder. When she saw the air horn that Bill took from Too Tall and his gang, this was no good gang. When Zoe was scared them back off with the safe house before the boathouse, Sister blew the air horn, to which it woke everyone up. The survivors were startled in the same way with Brother, Mama, and Fred, but they also were not happy. For Christ's sake, Sister Bear, why did you have to blow that shit in our ears? Bill asked as Sister hid the air horn behind her back. Sorry, I was trying to wake you up, Sister said. Papa's missing, she said. What? Now Papa's missing? I sure hope Winter Jones didn't kidnap him, Lewis said. Sorry for the air horn, Lewis' sister said as Zoe took the air horn away. I'll find Too Tall and his gang and I'll blow this air horn in their ears and see how they like it, Zoe said as she heard Too Tall and his gang talking. Watch and see how I scare them, Zoe giggled as she crouched down behind the safe room exit door, put the air horn close to their ears, and then looked at the group. Plug your ears, this is gonna get loud, Zoe whispered. As everyone plugged their ears, Zoe blew the air horn loudly, scaring Too Tall and his gang. Ah! His gang screamed. What the fuck is that noise? It's hurting our ears, making them bleed! Too Tall and his gang then ran away from the loud noises of the air horn, and Zoe laughed as soon as everyone else joined her on the laughing. Oh my god, they're such chickens, Francis laughed. What a good way to scare them, Zoe, Lewis added. I think you're more scarier than Winter Jones and the zombies, Sister laughed. Wait till they get scared by Bill someday. He's more good at scaring much as people as me, Zoe replied. As Lewis checked to make sure the coast was clear. Once the coast was clear, the group then all started to head out to find Papa. Papa, where are you? Brother called. Then he and Sister, along with Zoe, saw an old barn ahead of them. They walked inside to find nothing useful, and they didn't find where Papa went. They then started to continue to walk on the woods until they found a creepy old train station. There's a train station. If we follow the tracks, we might find Papa, Brother said. I sure hope he's okay, Mama said, as the group jumped down and followed the train tracks. They passed a couple of infected, to which there was a boomer, smoker, hunter, and they shot down without a problem. Even a few wandering zombies they had also shot down. They saw that the train was crashed and blocked the train tracks. They saw another house that they can get through. We can get through that house and get up on the second floor or third floor, and then we can get to the roof to get around the blockage, Zoe said, as she and the rest of the group walked inside that house. They got to the third floor of the roof. That farmhouse should be right across that bridge, Zoe said, as everyone walked down the roof of the house, and they saw Papa at the front of the foggy bridge. Papa, you're okay, Brother said. Hey, Cubs, I found the safe house on the train cart of this bridge. It looks like it should lead us to the farmhouse, Papa said, as he started to walk until a tank appeared. Yike! A tank! Papa screamed and jumped and ran behind into Mama's arms. Then the group started to shoot down the tank at this point. After a couple of minutes, the group was able to shoot down the tank. Well, that was close, Zoe sighed, as the group all walked across the bridge and then jumped into the safe house that was in the train cart. As soon as they exited out of the safe room door to push the dead body away after they opened the exit door, that was just they finished. They had decided to prepare themselves and to move on when they're ready for their final battle of the infected, but possibly Winter Jones as well. The group all prepared themselves as they set foot outside of the safe house. There were a few wandering zombies that didn't notice them yet, so the survivors shot down the wandering infected before they moved on. They climbed onto the train cart and they waited and walked until there was a ledge where the farmhouse through the crops. What's that? Fred asked. That must be the farmhouse. Lizzie should be here, Francis replied. And Winter Jones too. I just can't wait to get her on my goddamn hands so she can answer to us and why she took you guys from Bear Country, Bill said. We will have to go through this cornfield, and we'll only have to be quick if we don't want to alert the other hordes of infected zombies. If those crows make noise when we end up, will be in a horde having infected chasing us, Lewis said. We'll go in there and save Lizzie, and then we'll call for a rescue vehicle and take care of Witter Jones, that bitch, Zoe said, as she found wine on the ground. A bottle of wine? I guess Witter Jones must be drinking so much that she was very drunk and did not even know what she was doing. That must be what caused Witter Jones to go nuts, Mama Bear replied. The group got down and walked through the cornfield when the crows made a lot of noise that caused the infected to go into attack from all different directions. The group was able to fight off the huge horde, and as soon as the horde was shot down, they were able to get out of the cornfield. We sure are out of here, Bill said, as Zoe looked inside the farmhouse by opening the door, having her gun ready. She checked upstairs to the bedrooms. The bedroom she opened first had Lizzie inside. She was tied up and a blanket was over her. That's Lizzie, Sister said, as Zoe freed Lizzie from being held captive. Boy, I am glad to see that you are okay, Sister. Who is this older woman? Lizzie asked. This is Zoe. She's in a group with my other friends, Sister explained. Once the group all were in the farmhouse after Lizzie was saved, it was time that Bill called for everyone for a meeting. Now, since Witter Jones may have a plan to attack us, while we call for a rescue truck, we're going to have to do our best to fight her. She may be trying to trick us with her spells, so we better be careful of that, Bill warned. There's that barn not far from there. Someone could go check it out, Francis suggested. Me, Lizzie, and Sister will check it out first, but we'll have to be sure to alert the people on the radio we're alive and needed to be rescued, Zoe said as she walked to the radio. Hello? Hello? I can't believe we got some more people alive out there. We hear you loud and clear, survivors, the man on the radio said. We've got 2 adult bears and 4 cubs. They'll be coming with us, Zoe replied. All right, be sure you prepare yourselves as the hordes of infected will be on your tails till I get here. After the radio man replied to Zoe, everyone prepared themselves. That was when Zoe took Sister and Lizzie, and they walked out of the farmhouse to check out the barn. Bill radioed the man to tell him that they were ready, and they'll be there in 15 minutes. So to hold out for a little longer until while I get here, he replied, as the sound of Zoe's voice was heard. Bill, I can't find Sister Bear, Zoe said at the door. Everyone was confused, as more copies of Zoe's were surrounding the ground until the real appearance was Witter Jones the Witch. You really are a thorn in my side, aren't you, at all? Well, it's time to see how deadly we can all be. Witter Jones sent her hordes of infected, as well as the witch, Hunter, Smoker, and Boomer, to attack the group. However, they stayed together and fought the groups of infected. Those copies of Zoe's are not real. That bitch was messing with us, Francis said. The real Zoe's in the barn, Lewis said, as Witter Jones knocked him to the ground. You guys really pissed me off long enough. Now you will pay. Oh, wait a second. Where is Zoe? I want to surprise her. Witter Jones escaped the farmhouse as Zoe was holding off the horde with Lizzie and Sister. A voice that we thought someone knew who was being heard. Hello, Zoe. Witter Jones is attacking the farmhouse, Bill said as Zoe turned around. Bill, I thought you were at the house, Zoe asked, as a tank appeared and attacked Zoe from behind. Luckily enough, Zoe was able to dodge the tank as she started to fight the tank. When the tank was dead, Witter Jones revealed her for himself from Bill. I knew it was you, Zoe growled. Of course you would find out Bill wasn't really him. I took a form of you and pranked the group. At least I could finish you here once and for all, Witter Jones said, as she took the form of an angry witch and slashed Zoe to knock her down to the ground. She was bleeding. I'll leave you to die here, unless your friends come to save the day. Witter Jones then ran away. Lizzie, what do we do? Sister asked, as Zoe coughed up some blood. Get help, please, Zoe said, as Sister ran from the barn to go to the farmhouse to get help. Lizzie then helped Zoe up. Can you walk? Lizzie asked. Yeah, I can. Zoe groaned as she was feeling the pain while standing up. Meanwhile, back at the farmhouse, the radio guy said he'll be there in 7 minutes and that the second horde will be on its way. How can we stop her? Brother asked. She's taking too many copies of us. Papa said, as Sister showed up. "Zoe, she's close to dying and needs help," Sister said, as she was close to crying. Bill walked in front of Sister. "Is she still in the barn?" Bill asked, as he was badly wounded while he was limping. "Who hurt her?" "It's that Witter Jones. She took the form of the infected witch and attacked her. She's not going to make it without any help," Sister cried, as Bill grabbed the first aid kit and headed towards the door. "If that Witter Jones comes back, tell Zoe that I have a surprise for her," Bill said, as he followed Sister outside the door. Zoe got down from the ladder from the barn, almost injuring herself. "Oh God, this really hurts," Zoe moaned in pain as she was close to crying. Lizzie walked with her as Zoe limped towards the barn. When she got towards the doors, she could see Sister with Bill, who was limping towards Zoe. She could tell that Bill was badly wounded too. "Bill?" Zoe called weakly. "Zoe, I'm coming, kiddo," he replied, as he was limping more towards Zoe. She then was doing the same thing like Bill was. Then Witter Jones appeared and was going to hurt Zoe more when she turned around and shoved her back. Knocking her out, she grabbed her magic wand. Bill soon got to Zoe, got his first aid kit out. "Hold still, I'm gonna heal you," Bill said. He healed Zoe within minutes, and she was back in good health. When Francis, who wasn't hurt, headed for Bill's direction, he was back in good health. "Another horde is coming," Lewis said, as he noticed Zoe has Witter Jones's wand. "You got the wand! Nice!" Lewis cheered, as Witter Jones got up and limped towards Zoe. She surrounded Witter Jones in a fiery circle. Zoe walked through the fire, which couldn't hurt her since she had the hold of the Witter Jones's wand. "You want to play rough? Okay, we'll play it my way," Zoe growled. She then made a fiery circle disappear, and hordes of zombies were coming. She turned the affected horde into bunnies and other nice animal creatures that ran into the wild. "See, Witter Jones? No one will save your ass now, 'cause I've got the wand," Zoe laughed. "We'll just have to see about that now, Zoe, won't we? Hunter, attack!" Witter Jones called out to her hunter friend to attack Zoe, but she pointed the wand at the hunter. He transformed into a lion cub that meowed and ran off. "Yeah, you better find someone else, bitch. No one's gonna stop me," Zoe laughed, as Witter Jones set out the boomer, to which Zoe transformed him into a pig, which he ran off squealing loudly. The smoker then appeared, and Zoe transformed into a frog, who hopped off. "Yeah, you better run away, frog. I ain't your princess, and I would never kiss you," she said, as the tank appeared. "Well, that was something I never knew was going to happen. Well, I guess I will have to transform you into a smaller dog." Zoe transformed the tank into a pug dog, which barked and ran off. "So what now, Witter Jones?" Bill asked, crossing his arms. "You've got no one to help you back you up." "I wish you were the nicest person that Mama knew you were, and I wish you would never get drunk like that on wine again," Zoe said, as she uses her magic wand, and Witter Jones was no longer evil, but nice again. "Ugh, my head. What happened?" Witter Jones asked, as she recovered from being so drunk. "You've got a lot of explaining to do," Lewis said. After a long talk with the survivors, and understanding the fact that Witter Jones got drunk, she had lost her mind and went crazy. "I am really sorry. I didn't mean to do that, and for it, I have something for Halloween," Witter Jones said, as she went upstairs to get the treats. "She is back the way she is," Mama said. "Thank you so much, guys. Without your help, we would have never got our cubs back," Papa said. "And Fred's parents along with Lizzie's parents would be happy to see them safe," Mama Bear added, as Witter Jones gave the survivors, along with the bears, Halloween candies. "Halloween passed, but you guys can still accept this. Thanks," Francis said. "Halloween is my favorite time of the year. I love to dress up, entertain people and cubs, and getting all spooky stuff on," Witter Jones replied. Then she looked guilty and sad about what she has done. "I am very sorry for the problems I have caused everyone. I hope you could forgive me." "Of course we can, but don't ever get drunk and do those stunts again," Bill said, as the truck was arriving. "Truck's here, let's go," Zoe said. As another horde of infected were coming, the truck was parked and opened up. Everyone jumped in the truck. and as the trucks sped their way out of the farmhouse area, with Witter Jones finding out that they were going somewhere that no one knows, she used her magic and teleported the group to a new area away from danger.